Hello and welcome back to Trails to Azure part 35. Time to help Armorica Village because the village chief's son is not bright. Excuse us, you put in a request for the special support section. Hello there, SSS. I can't tell you how glad I am that you're here to help with this again. Yes, thank you very much for coming. Can you tell us what's happened since yesterday, Chief Tolta? I understand there was a new development in the case. Yes, that's correct. I fear the situation is more dire than we originally thought. I'd like to discuss it in depth with you all right away. Would that be alright? I think there should be a comma there. I'm not sure though. Right now is fine. Please, fill us in on the details. You mentioned that the situation has changed since yesterday. That it has. Yesterday evening, I went to the Ash Tree Inn in another attempt to persuade Derek. I told him that Minnith character was far too suspicious, and that he had to break ties with him. You didn't beat around the bush then, huh? Not for a second, but in the end, Derek still refused to listen. However, I did learn something new. And so I hurried here to discuss the matter with Mr. Hayworth. Something new? Has Minneth taken some form of action? What Chief Tolta told me caught me off guard, if I may be frank. Minneth's grip on the village is far tighter than we had given him it credit for. Would you mind elaborating? From what we learned yesterday, several villagers already trust him. Has it gone further than that? Well, you see, Minneth has not only secured the private property on Old Armorica Road, but also the deeds to numerous plots and fields in the village itself. That's an interesting facet. Like, if the private property off of the road was owned by the village, how could anyone but the village chief give it to him? Like, it doesn't really make sense. And like, I guess technically the villagers probably can sell the deeds, but it's also, wouldn't those sorts of deeds generally be like leases to the village? Like the village owns all the land but leases it to people? Maybe not. That's probably too abusive, but he what? As shocking as that is, one question comes to mind. How was he able to pull off something that big? Good question. From what we know, Minnith pitched a plan to increase Armorica's lotus production, as he puts it. By slowly accumulating deeds to the villagers' farmlands, he could expand the lotus fields and streamline their harvests. Moreover, management of the plots themselves would be contracted to the Quincy Company to reduce the required labor. That does line up with what we heard yesterday. At first blush, it sounds like a pretty good deal for the villagers. Yeah, too good to be true. As long as those deeds are in Minneth's hands, he can abuse the land in any way he wants. There'd be no coming back from that. Indeed, the man cannot be trusted by any means. Had he solely focused on that private property of ours, even the worst case scenario wouldn't be too terrible. But now he's using plots of land within the village. The results could be catastrophic. You guys might be shit out of luck when it comes to breaking that contract, though. That's where you come in. If you can expose him, then perhaps the contracts can be voided. I know there's nothing criminal happening on the surface here, but even still, can we ask you to look into this? Well, the SSS has never actually been all that beholden to CPD protocol. I mean, they should be relatively beholden. They shouldn't be allowed to break laws, but our job is to support the citizens when they request it. You've given us enough reason to find Minneth suspicious, so we'll gladly help. Thank you, Detective Bannings. All of you have been our village's guardian angels. Where should we begin the investigation? I'm at a bit of a loss on that myself. Me too. It's not as if we have any smoking guns to look into. True. In that case, why not ask Ian for assistance? Do you mean Mr. Grimwood? Yes. Granted, we've only worked off our suspicions at the moment. We're only working off our suspicions at the moment. But if you explain the situation to Ian, he may be able to find a trace of something illicit in Minneth's actions. That sounds like a good idea. Even a shred of evidence against Minneth would be a good starting point for the investigation. I should warn you, though, Ian's been incredibly busy ever since the mayor advocated for our independence. There's no guarantee he'll have the time to see you. Only one way to find out. Off to the Grimwood Law Office. Maybe we'll catch him, maybe we won't. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Yeah, let's pay him a visit. We'll leave you to it then. I'll ask my business associates if they've heard any rumors about Minnith or the Quincy Company. We would appreciate that. Thank you, everyone. You're the only ones I can count on. I'm so powerless in all this. It's just pathetic of me. Don't worry, Chief Tolta. We'll handle it from here. You just sit tight and relax. And maybe pray to the goddess for good luck while you're at it. Very well. I'll be waiting for you. I really hope we go to Grimwood and he just instantly says, how could the person who is merely the successor to the village chief find something to give away the private property? Boom, Minnith done right there. That would be so funny. This whole incident has Chief Tolta worried sick, but I suppose that's only natural. It involves not only his village, but his son as well. Still, too much stress can ruin your health. I'll do what I can to keep him calm. What a nice person. Where's the kid, though? He's the only one that I care about. Here's the kid. Oh, we have honey. Lick. It's so sweet and yummy. I actually really don't like the taste of honey. Like, I don't hate it, but it's not a good taste in my opinion. It's just kind of eh. I'm going to Grimwood. I actually need to go this way. Honey's just such a weird food stuff. Oh, Mr. Grimwood. We were afraid you might have been out of your office. Ah, yes. I was just in the middle of taking a much-needed break. But it would seem you're in desperate need of my counsel. We should let him eat while talking, though. Is it really that obvious? Haha, I've seen those looks on your faces coming through my door countless times by now. It's happened less than 5. Like, we haven't actually come for his help more than 5 times, I guarantee. Please, take a seat. I might be busy, but I'm happy to lend you an ear. Apologies, and thank you. Explain the situation. Collecting deeds. I see. This is quite a predicament the village has found itself in. A case such as this would typically be a top priority for me. But as you know, I've been busy this past week drafting a preliminary constitution for the mayor. I apologize, but I won't have the time to handle this case personally. Is the kid gonna help us? That's unfortunate, but we understand. We suspected that would be the case. Still, even just a consultation would be helpful. Very well. I'll give you any advice I can while you're here. We appreciate it, Mr. Grimwood. So, do you have any insight on this? At this point, there's no evidence of Minnith engaging in any unlawful activity, at least as far as we can tell. Is there something we're missing? I do have one idea. Damn, already? Possibly. An Erebonian contact of mine once provided me with some reference material for a very similar case. Though I can't say the circumstances are an exact match. Any leads that could help us with the investigation is a good one. Any lead. If you think this other case is worth mentioning, we'd be happy to hear about it. Very well. I can hardly refuse you all. From what I can recall. Several years ago, a man visited the estate of an Erebonian baron. He introduced himself as Rittner, an enterprising businessman working for a famous brewing company. Rittner presented the Baron with an opportunity to become rich beyond his wildest dreams, and quickly at that. He proposed that the Baron's barley fields, which had been passed down the family for generations, be used to establish a brewery. The facilities would be constructed on the barony, and his family would be responsible for managing them. That was the idea, anyway. Hold on a second. What you're telling us is awfully reminiscent of what's going down in Armorica. The Baron accepted the deal and signed Rittner's contract. Then, under the pretense of constructing the brewery, the fields and a portion of the Baron's land were temporarily transferred to Rittner. Moreover, the Baron converted his assets into capital for the sake of getting the business off the ground. However, Rittner soon disappeared with both the deeds and the capital, never to be seen again. Why is this surprising? It was clearly leading up to being a scam, like, the hell? The Baron and his family panicked after suddenly losing contact with Rittner. At the time, they had no idea of the gravity of what was about to unfold. To their shock and surprise, they learned Rittner had sold the deeds to a third party. The land was to be repurposed into a villa resort. Today, it stands as part of a suburb instead. In the end, the Baron's family racked up a substantial debt. Before long, they had lost their entire territory. With that, the family was stripped of their rank, and they vanished without a trace. My understanding from rechecking is that's like the story of the Capua family, I believe. Damn, that's one hell of a story. That man conned them into giving up their property and sold it right under their noses. Who would even do such a thing? A scam artist? Your investigation immediately reminded me of that case. One person lies to another, lies to earn another's trust, before running off with a large fortune. It's a common strategy for committing fraud. What? Do they not know what the concept of fraud is? Maybe this world just doesn't have the concept of fraud, and it's not a common factor. Maybe that is why. Maybe you don't learn about fraud in this world. Because I thought, even before super duper common internet, you would still hear about, even on the radio, you'd hear of talks of Ponzi schemes. And don't trust people with money if you don't have a good reason to 100% trust them. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. It's weird that they're surprised that this was fraud. Fraud? If this case is the same, then Minneth may not be a Quincy Company employee at all. He would simply be a con man trying to swindle Armorica for all they're worth. Precisely. I can't say for certain that's the case here, but I'm concerned it might be. I agree. There are too many parallels between that story and our case. It'd be best if we shifted our focus to investigating this as a potential act of fraud. That changes the kind of leads we should be looking into. Exactly. As far as Minnith goes, there are two major areas that stand out to me as suspicious. First, that plan of his. We need to find out whether or not he's actually done anything to establish this Armorican honey company. We could probably figure that out by following the Mira trail. You'd have to apply for a bank loan to open a business in Crossbell. If it's all a sham, then we'll find the evidence we need at the IBC. The other point of concern is whether Minneth's actually an employee of the Quincy Company. The Quincy Company's headquarters aren't in Crossbell though, so that'll be a little tougher to ferret out. Bring, 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 bring. I may be able to help with that. We should try stopping by my grandfather's home. The McDowell estate? Why? There should be a brochure about the Quincy Company there. Bring, 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 bring. It outlines how the company operates. We may be able to find some useful information. What's something like that doing in your Gramps' pad, mademoiselle? Well, because I happen to enjoy making sweets, alright? I once took an interest in the Quincy Company, so I ordered one of their brochures. Last I recall, it was on a shelf in my old bedroom. Imagine actually keeping a brochure and not just throwing it away. But I mean, if you purposely ordered it, it makes sense. Then again, I doubt a simple brochure would have all the information we need. I wouldn't be so quick to discount the possibility. It's official Quincy Company material. You might be able to find something that conflicts with what Minnith said. It never hurts to cover all your bases. Agreed. Let's drop by the McDowell estate too, and see how it pans out. Thanks for all the invaluable advice, Mr. Grimwood. Because of you, we finally have some leads to chase down. I mean, let's be real. They really should have thought, is he even a part of this company? That should be really the first question, always. But always happy to be of service. Just to confirm, you said you were using the Hayworth residence as a base of operations, yes? Yeah, we are. Very well then. I'll lend you my help with this case for as long as time permits. Though unfortunately, I can't make any promises, given my other responsibilities. That's not a problem at all. You've already helped us immensely. It's nice having a professional in the neighborhood we can lean on. I'll try to keep up with you at the I'll try to meet up with you at the Hayworths later. Good luck with your investigation until then. Thanks, Mr. Grimwood. Okay, let's get this investigation underway. To start, we'll need to go to the IBC and look into Minneth's plan regarding the Armorica Honey Company. It'll be a good idea to swing by the McDowell estate for that brochure too. Something in there might contradict Minneth's words. That gives us a total of 2 leads to follow up on. Roger. We won't rest until we find that evidence. I mean, can't they just... Presumably they're going to be able to call the company, potentially? But, is her room here? No, this is the old man's room. Is this Ellie's room? Let's see. Oh, here it is. This is the Quincy Company brochure I mentioned earlier. Dang, they even have this sucker bound. I guess if you have a brochure and it is bound, you would probably keep it. Can't say they didn't put any effort into the thing. They have ample resources to do so, considering the size of the company. I mean, but that doesn't mean it's worth binding it. Whatever is written inside should be sufficiently credible. Then it's a good thing we stopped by for it. Alright, let's take a closer look inside. As a leader in confectionery manufacturing, the Quincy Company strives tirelessly towards its next innovation. This brochure aims to briefly introduce the methods and creeds that drive our passion. We believe the key aspect of any confectionery is that its taste. Otherwise, how would anyone enjoy it? With this belief as a core tenet, the Quincy Company refuses to compromise on the quality of its products. Our factories are fitted with the latest equipment and operated with the utmost attention to hygiene. Here at the Quincy Company, we are particular not just about the quality of our ingredients, but where they are sourced as well. Our product development pipeline, too, is run with the strictest of standards. Prototypes are personally sampled by our executives who, after many meetings, decide whether a product is worthy to go to market. Only then can they reach the production line. This has been a Quincy Company tradition since its founding, such that we may deliver our valuable customers nothing less than the finest confectionaries to enjoy. It is this commitment to excellence that has made the Quincy Company the exceptional confectioner it is today. I'm not sure what we were expecting. This is all just your typical corporate double talk, but I mean, this is going to be the key line here. It can only go to production line after it's been checked with executives and many meetings before it's checked to that, so they're already moving too fast. Typical corporate double talk. Did anyone manage to find a contradiction between this and something Minneth has said? Not in particular. Maybe coming here for this brochure was a waste of time after all. Actually, I did notice something. You did? Oh, I get it. You just activated the old detective mode and bam, right? Well, don't leave us hanging. What did you find? If you remember what Minnith told us at the hotel yesterday, the answer is obvious. It was only a passing remark, but it still comes into major conflict with what's written in this brochure. Enough to prove that he isn't, in fact, an employee of the Quincy Company to begin with. You got that much out of this one little pamphlet? That's right. You see, if Minnith... Sorry to cut you off, but where's the fun in spoiling it all now? What are you talking about? I guess Wazzy figured it out too, right? Well, if I'm being honest, it's annoying that you're the only one who figured it out. He didn't figure it out, I guess. So why not give the rest of us a chance to and save it for when we interrogate Minneth? Wazzy, this is an investigation, not some game. I agree with Wazzy, actually. Your hypothesis might not be accurate after all. As a precaution, we shouldn't let ourselves be swayed by a mere hunch. Not to mention, I don't appreciate you stealing the spotlight with your detective mode, as Randy put it. He's not even that good of a detective. Why do I get the feeling that second comment was the real reason she doesn't want me to share? Fine if you two insist. Instead, I want you all to consider everything we've learned so far. I'll summarize the main points of the brochure in the detective notebook. All that's left is for us to visit the IBC. Let's see what we can find out there. Lead the way. What I want to check is what they have written down. This one. I'd actually have to go to the previous one. This one? Yeah. He is an executive. Minnith doesn't like sweets, and what was established is that Quincy executives sample them and decide whether they're worthy. High quality products, state-of-the-art equipment. Versus he doesn't like sweets, so he's not a good taster. And I think that's the main point. As an executive, he wouldn't be a good frame of reference for tasting them, and the executives are the ones that give the okay, I think. There might be some other element, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It's obviously going to be talking to her. Hello again, SSS. What can I do for you today? Well, we'd like to ask for the IBC's cooperation with an investigation we're working on. Would it be possible for you to do an account search for us, Lanfei? We're hoping to look into some suspicious Mira transfers from a certain depositor. You want me to pull up private information on one of our clients, then? Doing so is within company policy if it's related to a criminal inquiry. But would you mind telling me the details of the situation first? Not a problem. Provided all the information of suspected fraud. I see. I believe I understand the circumstances now. Will this be sufficient probable cause for us to conduct a search? I mean, they would actually have to get a warrant and stuff in reality, but cracking down on these kinds of things is in the bank's best interest too. Fraud would damage your reputation. You are correct, and this is related to a legitimate investigation. I can help, but you'll have to settle for me simply telling you what I can pull up on my terminal screen here. That's more than enough, if you would, please. Very well. First, let me search for an account registered under the name Minneth. Click, clack, click, clack, click. Armorica Honey Company, subsidiary of the Quincy Company. Click, clack, click, clack, click. Neither exists. There we are. You do indeed have an account open under that name. Hold on. What happened? Did you find something incriminating? Well, I don't have the authority to tell you the exact balance on record. But I will say that the Armorica Honey Company has no more than the minimum deposit in its account. What exactly does that mean? that they just made the account and haven't put anything in it. Basically, corporate accounts require an initial sum of capital to open. In this case, that base amount is all there is. From what you've told me, that would leave tens of thousands of Mira unaccounted for. Minneth has the construction of the factory, management of the fields, and more to cover. It is simply impossible for any minimum deposit to be capable of financing all of it. That much is clear. And despite him holding the titles to the land and signing several deals, the balance hasn't changed a single time. It's suspicious to say the very least. By which I mean, this account appears to have been made for the sole purpose of gaining Derek's trust. Things clearly aren't adding up here, in more ways than one. Yeah, this is just the kind of evidence we needed. We appreciate your cooperation, Lanfei. Not at all. I'm glad I could be of assistance. Should you ever require anything more, please don't hesitate to ask. We'll keep that in mind. Okay, we now have material on every suspicious aspect of Minnith and his plan. Let's make our way back to the Hayworth residence. Got it. Residential district. Hayworth wasn't here earlier though. He's back. Is the kid gonna talk differently or is she still just talking about honey? He probably shouldn't be sticking his fingers in to steal honey, but... Yep. Ah, it's the SSS. There you all are. Mr. Grimwood, I'm glad you could make it. Did you just get back yourself, Mr. Hayworth? Yes, I finished asking my business associates about the matter at hand. How did things go on your end? We were able to round up a few leads, thanks to Mr. Grimwood. How about you, Mr. Hayworth? I did just the same, in a manner of speaking. You see, I'm not quite sure what to make of it all. Well, you went through the trouble of digging up that info, so you may as well share with the rest of the class. Agreed, the information may be beneficial to our investigation. I suppose you're right. I asked my business associates if the name Minnith rang any bells, having never heard it myself. What they informed me is that he's been making inquiries into a certain market since arriving in Crossbell. And what market would that be? Real estate? Land prices in various locations throughout Crossbell. Land prices? He sounds more like a real estate agent at this point. Why would we already know why. Don't act as if you don't know exactly why. We know exactly what he's about to do. Don't have that sentence. Why would a Quincy Company employee even need that kind of information? We've already established that there's a good reason to believe he's not a Quincy Company employee. Why would you phrase it this way? You should be like, why would somebody pretending to be a Quincy Company employee even need that kind of information? Like, phrase it differently. The answer to that just might be instrumental in helping us figure out Minneth's true objective here. Well, no, we already know exactly why. We know that the modus, the MO is sell it to someone else. Like, and run. Like, we know what he's gonna do. You think so? Like, everyone who heard what Mr. Grimwood said shouldn't be shocked. They should be like, yeah, that's obviously what's happening. It's certainly something worth considering. Incidentally, I may have discovered something else of note since we last saw one another. Huh? Harold, Chief Tolta, could I ask you to help me find something in my office? At your office, Ian? I don't mind, but is it important? Well, it isn't substantial enough to prove anything in and of itself. But we may be able to use it in the as a final nail in the coffin once you've pinned Minnith down. You really got something like that up your sleeve, Grizzly Grim? Possibly, but we may not make it in time, so please don't wait for us. You ought to get to Armorica Village as quickly as you can. If Minnith is the criminal we think he is, then his plan could very well be in the final stages as we speak. It took literal days, and boom, he's gonna be able to sell it. Quick fraud. I'm confident, however, that the evidence you have on hand will be enough for you to solve the case. Best of luck, SSS. Got it. Thanks, Mr. Grimwood. Okay, guys, off to Armorica Village. It's time to reveal Minneth's true colors and stop his phony deals dead in their tracks. Right. It's just such a weird... I wonder if we could steal his car. They should let us steal his car. That'd be pretty funny. Not steal, obviously, but borrow. Gotta save. There's not gonna be a fight. It'd be pretty funny if there was, though. If he picks a fight and then gets just one shot, ooh, that'd be good. This is a different truck. I don't think I've seen this truck here before. Oh yeah, this will be different because it's a new day. I don't quite understand these changes Derek's been pushing for the village. Granted, it's true that having orbital tools in the field would make things easier. But the simple truth is, I like fieldwork. This is not a well-written character. I'm not sure how I feel about having my job taken over by machines. Like, it's like, oh, I like toiling away in the field. I hear Derek and Minneth's plan is almost ready to go. We'll just have to see what happens next. Gotta say, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, this entire setup is bad, but Ravashenko, hey. It's just a choice of music instead, but... Damn it. Did they already close the deal? Like, but... What level of power does Derek have? The entire premise is that somehow he's able to sign this deal. Why would someone who officially shouldn't have any position to sign a deal be able to sign this deal? It makes no sense. Damn it. Did they already close the deal? You six again. The special support section. Derek, Minnith, we have a few things we'd like to ask. What kind of agreements were you hoping to conduct today? Meddling in my affairs on my father's behalf again, are you? Haha, please, Derek. There's no harm in answering their questions. After all, our plan has already been set into motion. And what do you mean by that? Right before you all arrived, Derek and I finished signing the requisite paperwork. I mean, they don't have a notary. Just burn the paperwork, boom, you're good. It'd be illegal, but they don't have a notary. There's no one here to prove that they signed it. In doing so, we have arranged to expand the operation of the lotus field lent to me by the villagers. The Quincy Company will then take over the management of the fields. What? You signed away the rights to almost all of the village's agriculture. Is this really what you want, Derek? What are you talking about? Nothing is changing. I'm only transferring management of the fields to him. Why does Derek have the right to do this? What kind of village gives him the power to do this? This premise doesn't work. Yes, of course. It's quite simple, really. With my company harvesting the honey, we'll be able to streamline production of the candy. A temporary transfer of the land rights to my company is a necessary first step to facilitate the process. What a crap. No, he's not crafty. Derek is just stupid. His scheme has reached its final phase. Which means... Now then, Derek, I'll be delivering this contract to our main office. We'll be in touch come tomorrow. Look forward to good news. Sounds great. I'll be waiting. Lloyd, we can't let him get away. Before you go, Minneth, we have a few more questions. Oh, and what might they be? Well, for starters, are you aware of the allegations leveled against you? The primary of which, of course, is suspicion of fraud. What? That's absurd. How dare you insult Minnith like that? God, Derek is so stupid. He's the dumbest character so far. Now, Derek, please calm yourself. Minnith? The special support section, was it? What could possibly make you suspect me of being a common criminal? Surely you have some manner of proof of your claim. That we do. Intriguing. Why don't you tell me about it then? But first, let me remind you that I am an imperial citizen. If it turns out your allegations are indeed entirely baseless, I will do what is I must to right this indignity, police officers though you may be. That's fine with us. Lloyd, well, it's obvious that he's Fraudulent, like, why would Ellie say Lloyd? That doesn't make any sense. Don't worry, Ellie. Let me handle this. Based on our investigation, there's no doubt in my mind that Minnith is guilty. I'm going to expose him as the fraud he is and show Derek the truth. How very glib. If that's how you want to play this, then go right ahead. I'll answer anything you like. Well, your first question. Right, about your actions in Crossbow. There's a contradiction between what you said and what you've done. Can you please recount your actions for me? A contradiction. Very well. Since arriving in Crossbow, I've been cooperating with Derek to advance our plans. Said plan will result in the formation of the Armorica Honey Company, a subsidiary of the Quincy Company. It will specialize in producing candy made from Armorica's high-quality honey. Combined with my company's acumen, it is a surefire success. The venture has already been approved by the city and is just about prepared to launch. Tell me, what is so contradictory about that? Well, everything. The plan is more like a charade from where I'm standing. Our investigation has uncovered a key discrepancy in what you just said. You see, Minneth. I mean, it's his confectionery acumen. This one I want to get correct, but it's definitely his confectionery acumen. Because he doesn't like sweets and all that. Apparently that the plan's underway. Why is that the correct one? Oh, because the money hasn't been moving. That makes sense. The records we looked into at the IBC reveal your mistake. You say this plan is prepared to launch. In reality, it hasn't made any progress at all. The IBC? What are you talking about? Consider this. If the Quincy Company truly did intend to go through with this plan in Crossbell, it would need a loan from the IBC to fund the construction and development of the subsidiary. It wouldn't actually necessarily need a loan, because if they have enough pure capital just sitting around, they could just use that. Well, yes, of course. I registered the company with the city and opened a corporate account. But that's as far as you went, isn't it? The account for the Armorica Honey Company contained no more than the minimum balance required to open it. While we weren't told the exact amount, I would speculate it's only in the tens of thousands of mira. Just how were you planning to build a factory and run a business with so little starting capital? You looked into my IBC account? This can't be true, can it, Minnith? Please don't misunderstand, Derek. I never said there was any credence to their claims. I'm merely commenting on the audacity it takes to do something so invasive. Forget that. Explain why there's hardly any mira in that account. Being an executive of the company, I must be especially judicious when moving money around. As such, I can't take out a loan on behalf of the Quincy Company. Of course, I will be securing one from the IBC once I've received permission from the main office. Oh, yeah, that makes perfect sense. No, it doesn't. A deft evasion, no. Because, I guess he's getting the deeds for free, so he doesn't need, a real company would actually compensate them for the deeds, even if it's temporary, I would assume. Because there would have to be some form of collateral. Don't count us out just yet. I can tell Minnith is getting frustrated. If we continue to press him and pile on the evidence, we can get him to crack. That look on your face tells me you have something more to ask. It just so happens that I do. That was far from the only point of contention about you, Minnith. You're still not satisfied? Derek is so stupid. Don't let them rattle you, Derek. I kind of hope Derek gets a month in prison. This will be a good opportunity for me to clear your mind of any and all doubt. Next, I'd like to ask about you, Minnith. You say that you're an executive of the Quincy Company. But is that really true? Wait, what are you implying? Derek, I understand that this line is more of a rhetorical question, but are you trying to say that Minnith isn't associated with the Quincy Company at all? That's what our evidence points to. Ha, ha ha ha. Oh goodness me. I didn't expect you to say something so outlandish. How about I show you my business card and employee ID? Those articles could be easily forged. Regardless, we have evidence that would supersede either of those. No, we don't. And we found it in a Quincy Company informational brochure. An informational brochure? Oh yeah, the one in Mademoiselle's room. We recorded the main points in the detective notebook. The brochure comes directly from the Quincy Company's main office, so there's no doubt as to its authenticity. What's more, there's a clear discrepancy between its contents and what you told us yesterday. What I told you? That's right. Something you mentioned made it clear to us that you aren't the executive you claim to be. I mean, it would be his dislike of sweets. Allow me to quote a statement you made yesterday. Despite working for the company, I've never been one for sweets. Do you deny this fact? Lloyd, how exactly is that relevant? That's right, I don't care for sweets. Haha, what of it? Are you trying to say that someone who dislikes sweets couldn't possibly work for a confectionery company? A confectionery company in general, maybe, but not this one in particular. What are you on about? Who do you work for? The confectionery police department? This is what was written in the brochure. Prototypes are personally sampled by our executives, who, after many meetings, decide whether a product is worthy to go to market. Isn't that curious? What does that... Wait! It doesn't make sense that somebody like Minneth, who dislikes sweets, would be hired by a company like Quincy. Not with a tradition like that. Wouldn't you agree? No, I mean, I never said I hated sweets. That's not going to work on us. You admitted to not liking them in this very conversation. How stupid do you think we are? I mean, he thinks we're just as stupid as Derek. Gah. So that raises the question, why would you lie about being an executive of the Quincy Company? It's simple. You intended to gain Derek's trust before ripping him off. This is the only deduction I can make based on the evidence. As for the confectioner seeking to make use of Armorica's honey, the Quincy Company was merely a name with weight on it. One that Minnith threw around as a show of credibility. Minnith, what is the meaning of that? Derek, why do you still trust this fool? You are incredibly incompetent. You should be fired. You tricked me? Ha ha ha, Derek, don't allow yourself to be deceived by these scoundrels. What did you just call us? I mean, think about it for a second. Let's say, for argument's sake, that I did come to Armorica Village for the purpose of founding a fraudulent honey company. If, that being the case, I had an ulterior motive in deceiving my very good new friend Derek, then what is it? What was it? Why would I go to such ridiculous lengths? If you have no proof to back your claims, then you have no right to call me a fraud. You should arrest yourselves for slander. We do bear the burden of proof, as well as providing a viable motive. As far as the motive goes, I think I have a pretty good idea. I mean, even if it wasn't high-value property, selling the property to someone else would still be money for nothing because he got it for free. What? I don't like that our characters are shocked. They shouldn't be. What? Are you sure, Lloyd? Like, it's all meant to make it seem as though the player is competent when it's most of it is fairly clearly lined up. Are you sure, Lloyd? I've barely even started untangling everything that's going on here. Don't worry, I've got this. The person who pointed us in the right direction today also went to retrieve the final piece of evidence we need. The last piece of the puzzle that'll oust Minneth once and for all. Quit with the mumbling. If you have something to say, then out with it. With pleasure. You went to all these lengths to deceive this village with one goal in mind. Seizing land rights. I do kind of want to know what's up with the peddling knockoff Orbital cars. Like, I kind of want to know if there's something there later. Seizing land rights. Your true objective here is obtaining the land rights to Armorica Village itself. What? A trader we know named Harold Hayworth gave us some information about you. Immediately after arriving in Crossbell, you, Minneth, started looking into land prices throughout the state. If you were employed by the Quincy Company in search of new business ventures, this would make no sense. It actually would. If they were going to purchase the land that the work was going to happen on, which I think they would have to, but whatever. So why do it? I can only think of one possibility. Seizing land was your aim from the very start. It was. Of all the outrageous schemes, we already knew this. We knew from Grimwood that this is, like, where it was going, so this shouldn't shock anyone. None of the SSS should be shocked by this. Noelle shouldn't act shocked here. It doesn't make sense. There's more to it. Armorica Village is surrounded by scenic beauty, making it a high-value location. Suppose the deeds were sold to a third party as prime real estate for a villa resort. How much Mira do you think it would go for? Land like this? I would estimate somewhere in the tens of millions of Mira. That said, I don't think the villagers would ever agree to such an arrangement. Exactly. That's what made this whole fraudulent ruse, painstaking as it was, a necessity. Now, if we assume your motive was to obtain the land itself, your actions become that much more clear. First, you obtain the rights to the lotus fields, the farmlands, and the village's private property. Then, under the pretext of returning to your company's main office, you vanish from Crossbell entirely. Finally, you sell the deeds on the black market. They probably wouldn't actually have to sell them on a black market, considering technically they own it. They would get caught eventually, but like, then it would be someone else's problem and Sell the deeds on the black market and pocket the hefty sum of Mira they're worth. That, Minneth, has been your plan the entire time. Minneth, I can't believe what I'm hearing. Lloyd. It's going to be a picture of the fraud guy from the previous event, I assume. Is my guess. I need to get a picture of this guy. He's such a goofer. Is that? Hey, it's the kid. Thank goodness. It looks like we made it in time. Derek. Father, Mr. Hayworth. Aren't you from Mr. Grimwood's office? I'm his assistant, Pete. He would have come himself, but he had to get back to drafting the Constitution. Ah, Pete. Pete, my boy. Did you come with evidence? That we did. Ian said this would prove to be useful insurance. You're all going to want to take a look at this. Produced a photograph for everyone to see. It was of a man who looked like a merchant, with the same face as Minneth's. Come on, they can't even give us a picture to look at? The man in this picture is... Why? Why do you have this? A reporter Mr. Grimwood knew in the Empire gave this to him a long time ago. However, the name on this photo isn't Minneth, it's Rittner. Rittner. I feel like we've heard that name recently. Ah, I remember. Don't be, I remember about it. Like, it's the name of the man who stole the Erebonian Baron's land. The one Mr. Grimwood told us about. Ah. Oh yeah, that dude. That's right. I asked Ian about it again, and he said there's no mistaking it. Well, this is a plot twist I wasn't expecting. Really? How could you not expect this? I know it's different when it's reality, but like, even in reality, if I was like, oh hey, the previous guy wasn't caught, and this other guy is doing the exact same thing in the exact same way, I would absolutely suspect that it's the same person. Like, come on. Lloyd, why don't you do Minneth the honors? Tell him the only thing this photo could mean. With pleasure. Come on, please. I hope one of the options is it's his twin. It's not going to be that, but like, please be an option. The reason the man before us, Minneth, and the man in the photo, Rittner, look identical is... they're twins. Beautiful. Oh, they're twins is so funny. I'm so glad they had it. I mean, this is not anything, but... Minneth and Rittner are one and the same. That's the only explanation. No, they could actually be twins, but... and it's because they're the same person that their MOs are such a close match. They could definitely be twins. Mr. Grimwood came to the same conclusion. This man must have been swindling down to an exact Must have swindling down to an exact orbital science. Yeah, find someone who's stupid enough to believe him. You're a crook, Minneth. As such, you'll be charged with attempted fraud. This is, of course, on top of the fraud that you previously committed in Armorica. I can only guess how many skeletons we'll find in your closet when we get done with you. I would very much like to hear all of the details. In the department interrogation room. Grr. You, damn you. I'm a professional. My work must be flawless. You meddlesome brats. Minneth. Punch Derek. Don't get too full of yourselves just yet. Is he gonna have warhounds in his truck? You may have won this time, but I won't be apprehended so easily. What? Come, my lovely beasts. Hey, I was right. Ooh. They have swords for horns? And they're cheetahs? Oh, they're carrying them. Okay. What? Those wouldn't all fit in there, but whatever. Monsters? They appear to be well trained, too. These cougars. Don't freaking tell me. No. Derek? Chief Dolta, it's too dangerous. Do you have any idea what you're doing? I know precisely what I am doing. Hence, why I'm doing it. Oh, and don't think for even a second you're about trying to fight me. That is, unless you don't value the lives of Derek and the villagers. Grr. Now step aside if you would. Just push him in the water. Boom, the contract will be wet and safe. Haha, fare thee well. For we shall never meet again. This is questionable writing. Derek. Exhale. Damn it, we can't just let him escape. After him. No. He managed to get away. Get in your car and chase him. Ugh, I've never been so frustrated. I can't believe a spineless coward like him gave us a slip. At least none of the villagers were hurt. Let's look at the silver lining. What a mess. If we come across him again, he won't be so lucky. For now, though, let's regroup with Chief Tolta and the villagers so we can report what's happened. Yeah, that's a good idea. I can't thank you all enough for what you've done today. It is no exaggeration to say that you saved the village from the clutches of that con man. Though he still got away in the end. Yes, but now the department knows to keep a lookout for him. It should only be a matter of time before he's caught. Derek. I made a grave mistake, and I put everyone through so much trouble just so they could fix it. I let that man rope me into his schemes, and it nearly cost us all our livelihoods. Don't be so hard on yourself. You're not the one who's guilty. No, he should be hard on himself. He's incredibly stupid. Wrong. It's my fault completely. No two ways about it. At least he's like, yep, it's my fault. I was so desperate to fix and reform Armorica that I ignored my father and almost drove it into the ground instead. Yeah, 'cause he was cocky. He thought he knew what was best. It was his fault. Like, obviously the scammer is the bigger fault. But it's just... he was incredibly self-assured despite having never done anything with his life. I have no right to become the next village chief. He should actually not be the next village chief. That is where you're wrong, Father. I've been so stuck in the old ways that I never tried to hear your proposals for what they were. I've known the village will go under if we maintain our current course, and yet I've done nothing. See, if they had any proof that the village would go under if they maintained their current course, this would matter more. But the people living here are happy enough with their lives. And there's nothing suggesting that they're going to go under. Like, if the buildings were falling apart and it was actually on a downward spiral, that would help. I really think they should have had like a quest in this game or in Zero that clearly was, hey, we're really struggling here. Because then there would be an actual element of, oh, it's collapsing. But like, as it is, it could just be a very easy tourist destination, and they could make some money with that. It is my inaction that drove you to do this. Thus, I bear a large share of the responsibility for letting it happen. That's very admirable, Chief Tolta. Thanks to this crisis, I finally realized where I went wrong. Now, Chief Tolta was wrong to not at least listen to him, but the welfare of this village cannot hinge entirely on the ideology of a single stubborn old man. So instead, Derek, I would ask that you provide me your input as well. We will each contribute our ideas and discuss them with the villagers. You know what they could actually do? They could have everyone in the village give ideas. Wow, because there's only like 10 people here. It wouldn't be that difficult. That is the only way we can ensure a future for Armorica. You're right. I'm so sorry, Father. From here on out, I'm going to dedicate myself to the betterment of the village. And he wasn't doing that before? I'm happy the two of you were able to reconcile. Haha, same. Makes almost losing your whole village to some crook worth it, wouldn't you say? Put a sock in it, Wazzy. I mean, that's the perfect line to say. I totally agree on that. Learn how to read a room. No, it was a good joke. I'm really sorry about him, I swear. We've tried everything. Ahem. At any rate, we owe you all an enormous debt, so allow me to express my thanks once more. The debt would be the value of the village. I also owe my gratitude to Mr. Grimwood. It's a shame he couldn't be here. I'll pass your thanks on to Mr. Grimwood and let him know what happened. Even if I only played a minor role, I'm glad I could be of assistance. I look forward to our continued partnership, Chief Tolta. Same to you, Harold. If you could, keep a lookout for Minneth, just in case he returns. And of course, you can always contact the SSS if you ever need our assistance. Hopefully it'll never be for anything related to this ordeal again. We'll be sure to keep you in mind. One born every minute. Because yes, like, apparently there's a common factor of if you've been scammed before. I knew that guy with the monocle was up to no good. I still can't believe he let all those monsters out, though. I thought I was going to be eaten for sure. Like, even if you've been scammed, you're pretty much just as likely to be scammed again after, because you think you understand scams. So you're just as much of a victim to scams. Turns out that Minnith fella was a scoundrel. Even I got led up the garden path by his fake smile and courteous ways. Derek's got it the worst of any of us, though. I hope the boy's not being too hard on himself. Just don't trust random folks. I can't believe Minnith released monsters in the middle of the village. Thank the goddess none of the children were hurt. I think Derek should be, like, he should explicitly be, like, grounded in a lame way for, like, a week. No leaving for a week. Derek and his father have reconciled. I couldn't be more relieved. Thank you all so much for your help. And like the grounding being obviously just a symbolic, hey, here's a minor punishment for your terrible misjudgment. Thank you very much for your help, everyone. It's because of all of you that Derek and Chief Tolta were finally able to make up. I knew turning to the SSS was the right call to make. Mr. Grimwood has his hands full with drafting the Constitution, so he couldn't make it today. Luckily, it looks like everything worked out in the end. I'll pass Chief Tolta's thanks on to Mr. Grimwood and let him know what happened. But yeah, why was Derek... This entire premise doesn't work in my opinion, because why was Derek in a position to sign away the property? Like, he's not even the chief. He's just going to eventually become the village chief. He shouldn't be in a position to sign away property. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, the basic premise doesn't make sense to me. You think the cats are cool? I do like these kids are stupid. It's pretty fun. Gramps threw out his back. I thought he was gonna be like, ha! There were monsters. Okay, boring. Racing flag, straw hat, nothing useful. I'm gonna run back instead of drive back on the off chance that like he crashes. They weren't attacked. What that crook did was unforgivable. It's kind of a weird everything, like, I don't know. I'm pretty sure she was positive about Minnith previously. It's just such a weird everything, like... Oh, she's gonna be happy. Aw, I was hoping she'd be happy that she gets to do farm work. Yeah, so he'll probably give him back. Yeah, like... He might not have obtained it legally. Though, it's actually entirely possible that he did obtain it legally. Because he could have been like, okay, here's a small investment. For like, millions of Mira in return. Ooh, Panda. No, Panda. Darn. I didn't get to kill the panda. Lame. Yeah, I already grabbed these. I'm not reading that again. I need to read the trails in the chest at some point. In order, but... I think the trails in the chest doesn't work the best because it's so hard to read them in order properly. And it can be like many hours of gameplay before you see it again. It's very easy to miss a single chest and then you miss a potentially important plot point. And it's hours between them, so you might just forget what happened in the previous one, even if you got them all in order. Nothing there. Kind of just want to see if he crashed on his way back, because that would be funny. I mean, it doesn't make any sense that he can have that many cats in the back of his van. Like, there clearly wasn't enough space. So if there were, cages that they jumped straight out of, he might have been able to fit them all. Misclick. I didn't mean to fight this guy. Nothing. I actually missed that somehow. Good thing I'm running all the way back. No idea how I missed that. Yeah, I have no idea how I missed this chest. Is it gonna be a Trails in the Chest one? Freeze, not that useful. 7 years ago this week, us crossbow chests were finally freed of Imperial rule. Welcome to our anniversary chestival. Kikiki. What a weird joke to go for in the sequel that isn't centered around the anniversary festival. Oh, there's a farm there. Yeah, it's just kind of me, but I'm just, that entire quest shouldn't have happened because Derek, it doesn't make sense that Derek had any position to sign away land. Like, because he's not the village chief. He's not anything. He's just he is the son of the village chief. And he's gonna inherit it because for some reason village chiefs in this world it's an inheritable position. But it's just weird that it seems to be the case that for some reason he had any power to sell stuff. Because, like, even if he's going to eventually be the village chief, you wouldn't give him the power to sign stuff over until he actually became the village chief, because then if he was disgruntled, or if he's like, if he hears, oh, I'm not going to be the village chief, so I'm going to sign this property over to me personally, like, there would be laws, there'd be issues, it could probably be removed, but like, giving him the opportunity doesn't make sense. I just don't think it makes sense that he had any capacity for that. So yeah, it just doesn't make sense. So, next will be going to the doll studio. I will not do that just yet, but I also noticed, just a quick check on my, because I was checking stuff relating to Minneth, and there's a hidden quest that I can't do here because I didn't do a previous hidden quest in chapter 1. Which is a shame, because it's a quest involving Nielsen. Which would be nice to be able to do. Because he's an interesting character. Because yeah, it is... Yeah. If only I could do the Nielsen quest line. Sadly, I missed it at the start, so I can't do it. So, next it will be time... I need to also not look at this anymore, because if I keep looking at it, I'll be like, I missed it, and it bugs me. But, I was going to do something before... Okay, so the only thing left will be to go to the doll studio. I was going to ride the car to outside the doll studio, and then stop there, because it will take more than... It'll probably take more than an hour to finish the day. So that will be... Finishing the day will be tomorrow, because it will take at least an hour. And I want to do the main quest. It seems like there's something afterwards that will take time as well. But I'll do that tomorrow. I just noticed that the mirror isn't actually well placed. It kind of clips through the shape. It doesn't really make sense, but yeah. This doesn't connect properly. I'm distracted. I should be stopping. But yeah, like, look. These are all just 2D for some reason. The connection points. So if you look at it from here, you can't actually see it. I don't know why they aren't 3D. It's probably, like, cheaper, less... Very, very slightly less, I don't know, processing power required for something that doesn't matter. Like, this little post here doesn't actually matter at all, so it's fine if it looks kind of bad. But here's where I stop for today. I will continue and finish the day tomorrow. Bye-bye.